Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast. This is episode number 88. Technically an apprentice, how Reebok and Adidas fill their talent pool, with our guest, Nia Allen Lee. I'm your host, Greg Green. If this is your first time listening in on this podcast, you can check us out at the following URLs. We are at www.blacksintechnology.net. We are also on the Twitters, at Black in Technology, and that's BLKINTECHNOLOGY. We also have our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Blacks in Technology. We're also on LinkedIn. Our group is growing, like always. So check us out under Blacks in Technology on LinkedIn. And if you're on the Twitters right now and you have questions for our guests, tweet them using the hashtag BitTechTalk, BITTECHTALK. Blacks in Technology is a tech-focused community and media organization focused on increasing diversity in technology. We always focus on forming new partnerships and opportunities to assist our members with their continued professional growth and development. So if you want to partner with us, send us an email to contact us at blacksintechnology.net. Also send our general inquiries and inquiries related to sponsorships to contact us at blacksintechnology.net as well. Let's do some announcements. What do we have to announce? ElastiCon. That is coming up in a couple of weeks, actually. February 17th through the 19th. Blacks in Technology will be in San Francisco, California. I'm happy to say that we are sending a couple of Blacks BIT members to the conference. So if you haven't heard of ElastiCon, the company Elastic, formerly Elasticsearch, that's their annual tech conference. And they are the company behind the open source projects such as Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana, and Beats. It's designed to take data from any source, and you can search and analyze and visualize it all in real time. I actually use their product in my work environment for log aggregation. It's a very good product. So check us out. I'm going to be there as well as a couple other BIT members, and we are actually going to be partnering with BPN of the Bay Area. BPN is the Black Professionals Network, and we are going to be helping them host an event called the Black Excellence and Achievement Event. So that event is going on February 18th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. All proceeds will go to benefit the efforts of Yes We Code. There are a number of outstanding guests. Van Jones, the CNN commentator, is going to be there. Charles Hudson, the VC partner of Precursor. Jolyn Anderson, Chief Diversity Officer at Visa. Jason Maiden, he's designer in residence at Excel Partners. And I'm going to butcher this person's name. Enitan Bariala, something like that. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I'll make it up to you when I see you. A best-selling author, he's also going to be there as well. There is a small fee to get in. I think it's anywhere between $15 and $20. But like I said before, all proceeds will be donated to advance the efforts of Yes We Code. That is happening at Infusion Lounge at 124 Ellis Street in San Francisco. Like I said before, Blacks in Technology is partnering with BPN for this event, and Elasticsearch, the company that is behind ElasticCon, is actually going to be helping to sponsor this event. So kudos to Elastic for doing that, and because of that, Blacks in Technology will be able to send between 25 to 30 people to this event. We'll be able to sponsor tickets for that. So we'll have that up on the website fairly soon. I think by tomorrow. You'll see the announcement go out, and there will be a Google form for anyone who is interested in receiving a sponsored ticket to fill out if they want to attend. So it's first come, first serve. I think there's going to be between 25 and 30 tickets available. Right now, from what I understand from one of the organizers, tickets are already, selling pretty well. So if you're interested in going, please fill out the form. It's a short form, and then we'll make sure that you get your ticket. And that's happening again February 18th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's Pacific time too, not Standard Eastern time like we're on. What else? Closure Self Conference that's happening in May 20th and 21st in Detroit. Closure West Conference is happening in Seattle in April. We'll announce more information about those two events in upcoming podcasts. We do have tickets, some sponsored tickets to give away for each one of those. So be on the lookout for that. Check out our website frequently. And I think we actually have something up for the Self Conference right now. There is a discount on the site so that you can use that and get 15% off additional of the early bird special. So there's an early bird special price for the Self Conference tickets, and then you get an additional 15% because you rock with bid. So check out blacksandtechnology.net for more information on that. All right, what else? Is that it? I think that's it. So we're gonna jump right into this. We're gonna introduce our guest, Nia Allen Lee. She's a 23-year-old self-proclaimed social media magician and brand gardener. We're gonna get into what exactly that is. After graduating from Rutgers University with degrees in women and gender studies and Africana studies, she started her career with Reebok International, where she currently works as the marketing apprentice for Reebok's corporate social responsibility department. So we're going to get into what that exactly means, what her role is, and some other stuff. We're going to learn all about her. So welcome, Nia, to the show.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You sound happy. You sound that when you just said that, it sounded like you had an extremely big smile on your face.
Yeah, I'm a huge podcast junkie, as I was just saying. So for it to be my first podcast that I'm ever on is a huge deal. All I do is listen to podcasts all about tech. So this is super, super special to me. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we were talking right before we started broadcasting about a couple of podcasts that I need to check out. Apparently TechCrunch has a really good podcast. And what were the other ones you were talking about?
Gimlet Media, their whole catalog of podcasts are just amazing. Radiolab is amazing. Planet Money is also amazing. Honestly, just anything NPR does is pretty much brilliant. So check those out. They're really great. If you're stuck in traffic, it's great to listen to. If you're on a packed train, you can just go somewhere else and just pop on a podcast, and they're great. So
Right. Excellent. So our traditional first question, who are you, where are you from, and give us a little bit about your educational background, and tell us about that.
Cool. So I'm Nia. I was born in Boston, and I moved to New Jersey, where I grew up, and now I'm actually back in Boston, interestingly enough. So I went to Rutgers University, where I studied women's gender studies and Africana studies, and while I was there, it was really interesting because I remember my parents kind of saying, okay, women and gender studies and Africana studies, that's cute, but what are you going to do with that and how are you going to make money? And I think I'm definitely a success story about following your passions and just really diving deep into whatever you're truly interested in and just knowing that it will work out. While I was at Rutgers, I really got interested in ethics and the internet. I read a lot of Paul Virilio, who's super, super interesting. He was one of the first people to talk about speed and technology, and how he wrote one of his best pieces around the 1970s, and things were just kind of popping off with the internet. So I got really, really deep into him. I'm also an artist, and I concentrated in experimental film. So I did a lot with glitch art and video editing, so that kind of introduced me to the world of coding. And I took a few computer science classes there too. And then I also was a part of this super, super great organization called the Women in Leadership Institute. And while I was there, I was given the opportunity to create a campaign around women's influence on gun buying and straw purchasing around the country. And I did a campaign for Operation Lipstick in the digital space that was super successful, and they still use it today, actually. So that's great. And I think that experience kind of showed me just how powerful the digital space can be in pushing a cause forward, and, you know, using the internet for good, especially when so much of it is being used for things that are not so good. So,
right,
yeah,
right.
I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Well, so, and you say you're 23?
Well, I just had a birthday. So I just turned 24, so I'm officially anxious.
You've done quite a bit of stuff for only being 20. I don't know what I was doing at 25. I don't think I was doing much of. I know I wasn't doing that for sure. So kudos to you. So what is? Explain to me what glitch art is. What is that? I've never heard of that.
Glitch art is super cool. So you can basically take any image file and then just go into the actual code and then just start moving things around and playing with things and then spitting out the image as a JPEG and then just seeing what happens. And the more that you do that, the more, like, the better that you get at, you know, getting the result that you want. You can use really kind of cool pixelated abstract pieces that are kind of awesome. You should definitely look into it. It's a really cool emerging new trend in art, especially modern art. A lot of brands are actually using glitch art styles in their designs now too, which is really cool. And it's like interesting. A few weeks ago, I was in Times Square, and one of the billboards was glitching, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! Like, it's awesome." You know, because there is so much beauty in mistakes. You know, I think they're gorgeous, and they speak to the human condition. No matter how far we get in tech, there will always be glitches, and we should celebrate those just as much as we celebrate the perfect codes too. So, yeah.
Interesting. I definitely have to check it out. Because I've never even heard of glitch art, and the way you kind of explain it there makes me more interested in Googling it now. So I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were people, when you were like, "Hey, that's glitch art," were people like, "What are you talking about? What is glitch art?"
I mean, kind of, but I took some images out on Facebook, and they were like, "That's really cool. That's really awesome." And I think when you kind of give a little description about what's going on, it makes makes a little more sense. So
cool.
Yeah.
So you went to Rutgers University, graduated with a couple of you had a couple of degrees, right?
A major and a minor. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And people were wondering, like, "Hey, what the heck are you going to do with these degrees?" And you landed a job at Reebok. How did that happen?
Well, I had a very unconventional college experience. I hustled my butt off in college. I was very much a nerd, always in the computer lab, always with an internship, always with a job. And I did a lot of interning in college. I worked for the Wendy Williams Show, BET and Viacom. I worked for music festivals like Afropunk and Atlantic Records. I just really, really dove deep into that world of branding. And while I was with BET, I was actually in their creative services department. So that encompassed a lot of coding. Well, I wasn't coding as much as, the real guys, but a lot of video editing, strategy, social media. And this is when I was, 19 years old. So working with a company like that was super, super awesome. But yeah, and when I graduated, this is going to sound funny, but I think it's important that I really talk about how I got here, because when I graduated, my plan was to open up a bakery that tied baked goods to social issues, right? So that was my passion. I was all gung-ho about it. I had a partner, but my partner kind of fell through, and when I moved to Boston, I really realized that the market was just like super saturated with baked goods, and I didn't want to be on my feet all day. So I was like, okay, this is not for me. So then I found a job at a community center working with kids who were interested in environmental justice issues and transforming the community of Dorchester. And I'm sorry, my story is just all over the place. And now that I'm saying it, it just sounds kind of ridiculous.
No, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, so, I was doing all this work with green spaces, and the kids actually wanted to create an app that helped the community members find trash cans in the community so that there'd be less trash in the neighborhood. We transformed the abandoned lot. It was just a really, really awesome program. But again, I didn't really feel fulfilled. So I was Googling around. My neighbor actually was an apprentice for Reebok, and now he's currently a designer. And I was looking for his email address. I was looking for his email address. That's it. And I happened to end up on Reebok's site, and I was like, I could do this job. Let me apply. And I applied, and in a day or two, I got a no. And I was like, oh, no, something's not right. I think I was just raised to think that a no, I just don't think no is a thing. I think a no is a maybe. Right. I reached out, I did some research, and I reached out to someone in the department directly, and I just said, you know what, I think there might have been an error. There might have been an error with the application system. And wouldn't you know, within a few days, they asked me for an interview. So, I think I say all that to say that grit is definitely the new hustle. Having that grit and having that take no for an answer mindset is definitely the only reason why I have this position. I also did my research up to Wazoo and when they're, just knowing the company, through and through. But, you have to get in the door. And the grit is the key to getting in the door, especially when, as people of color, we don't necessarily have those legacies, that nepotism to get into these huge corporate spaces that a lot of other populations do. So grit is a new hustle. So I got this job, and my parents are happy that I have benefits and I'm not in their house. So that is a huge huge success. And I feel super, super blessed to be there, and super blessed to be taking all of the experiences that I've had through college and before college and kind of putting it to something that's so powerful every day. So, yeah.
Nice. So when you were just speaking, I came up with a great blog topic for you and a title. Grit is the new hustle. There you go.
It is.
Thank you very much, people.
That's it. I look back at some of the things that I did when I was younger, and I was just like, oh, goodness, what was I thinking? So, for example, one time I was at BT, and one of my really good friends was determined to become the new host of that show, 106 in Park. You remember that show?
Yeah, definitely.
Park? Right.
I'm a huge hip-hop fan, so I know all about it.
Perfect, right. So they were having like this whole Star Search competition, and, we went out in New York and we shot this video. And I was like, girl, I'm going to get you on this show if it's the last thing I do. So the executives were actually having a meeting as we were leaving. And I walked into the room and said, hey, you all are going to be missing out unless you check out this video of my friend, blah, 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 blah. So needless to say, I walked into this meeting of BT executives, showed them this video. made them watch it and give me feedback, and then walked out. And I, like, looking back at that, I'm like, what was I thinking? But I think that's just, you know, a testament to the fact that I'm just very much a do it and pray that it's okay and ask questions, you know, ask for forgiveness later type of person. So
right.
Definitely grit is a new hustle. So yeah. That's
pretty cool. Yeah, you should. You should do a series of blogs about that. I think people would eat that up.
You think so? About Nia's shenanigans and almost getting fired so many times.
Yep. I think people would love to read something like that. That's very interesting. So, I mean, you know, some people don't. It takes a lot of confidence to. And some craziness, but it takes to go in there and present and put yourself out there like that. And some people won't. They, you know, they'll hold back, and which holds themselves back sometimes. But I mean,
right.
Yeah, if you frame it in a way that's kind of like I guess kind of like a tutorial, like, you know, what these are the steps that you can do in order to, you know, yeah, I think that will work.
Huh. Yeah, because I do have quite a few stories. That's a good idea.
Right, right. Put it on paper, or put it, you know, not paper, but in a blog, post it on the internet, and it'll catch fire. Yeah.
Huh. That's a good idea.
Or you know, all right, and then force people to to read it.
To read it.
Use that grit. Use that grit.
That's a good idea.
So you're part of an apprentice program at Reebok. Tell us a little bit more about their program. Like, how do you apply? What was the criteria? And you know, about that whole thing.
Okay, so there are about 100 apprentices right now at Reebok. They all are in different departments, and they're grouped by whether they are in the whether they're design apprentices or anything else. So marketing, finance. And the application comes out every July, I believe. And they pick people from all over the world. So there are some apprentices who are from New Zealand, from London, from Mexico. So that's super awesome, and they fly them out and make sure they get set up here in Boston. The apprentice program is really cool because it's not an internship. There actually are interns. Apprentices are treated very much like employees. Sometimes I look at the things that I have to do and I go, what? Like, how am I allowed to do this? But I think that's what makes the program so special, is that you really are an employee, and the chances that you will be hired as a full-time employee after the apprenticeship program is over are extremely high, like in the 90th percentile, I think. And even if you don't get hired in that department, HR will help you find another job in the entire company. So Adidas and Reebok and all the little companies that are under Adidas Group. So that's super awesome. The program is really, really tough. I'm always working, even when I'm not, especially as someone who works in social media. I'm always on my phone, just consuming media and just working, which is really awesome because I feel like I get to kind of sharpen my craft at all times. And no matter where I go after this, I think that I'll be okay after this.
Right.
So
how big is Reebok?
Reebok is huge. We have offices in all over. So I think there's maybe 1,000 people at headquarters right now. Rockport used to share the building too, but New Balance just bought them. And we also share the building with SLD and Mitchell and Ness, which is kind of cool. Reebok as a company, though, I'm not just saying this because I work there, is awesome. The corporate culture is amazing. at any given time, you can just find yourself working out with the CEO. Everyone just works out at lunch. There's a CrossFit box basically next to the building. There are basketball courts. They really are a fit company, and they believe in that, and everyone takes advantage of it. So that's super special. I've never been to worked at a company where it was okay to block off an hour and some change to work out, and everyone just kind of understands that. So that's super, super special. I was thinking one more thing.
I have a cousin that works at Ford, right? And they have a culture there that you better not pull up in like a Toyota. Right. So, working at Reebok, are you allowed to wear Nikes?
What? No way! Oh my goodness!
Okay.
That is like a swear word. We don't even say Nike. We'll say the swoosh. No, and I think about it a lot because my entire wardrobe now is Reebok. Everything.
Oh, wow.
I just think like, if let's just say, let's go to another company. I'm not saying that I will, because I love Reebok, but I'll literally have to just get rid of everything that I own pretty much now. But it was explained to me that the reason why they do that is because, like, let's say they have investors coming in, or I don't know, just guests coming in. Like, what kind of company are we if the employees don't even wear the brand?
Right,
like,
believe in the brand. Right.
Right, yeah. We're walking marketing tools just as much as a billboard or, an advertisement. But yeah, everything down to like the sports bras and the socks. I had one of my friends just yesterday get called out for wearing a Nike sports bra. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's really serious. It's really, really serious. People will glare at you, maybe even say something. And if you're wearing a competitor's brand, you won't be able to use the athletic facilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
pretty serious. It's pretty serious in Reebok town.
Right. But it makes sense. It makes sense. Because you might be, walking with someone who designed the very pants that you're wearing, like, just, yeah.
Definitely. So let me ask you, what does it mean to be a social media magician and brand gardener? I've heard of, well, actually haven't heard of social media magician or brand gardener. So tell us what those mean to you.
I just feel like the transformation of ones and zeros into what we have now, that's magic to me. Like, that's supernatural. And the fact that I work in social media, which is like a product of those ones and zeros, and is able to get the reach that it does and actually transform lives, like, in a way that's so different than, posting your breakfast. Not saying that that's important. Not that that's not important, but just like my job and the reach and the magic is truly supernatural. So that's kind of why I call myself that. And then regarding to brand gardener, I have a really, really, really awesome boss who used to work for one of the the best advertising agencies in the world. And she is an expert about all things brand, all things marketing, and has kind of become my guru in life and at work, but in life. And, just working under her has shown me just how much care and tenacity it takes to manage a brand. So when a brand starts to kind of sow that seed, and as it grows, it requires constant watering, constant pruning, constant picking, constant love, in the same way that a gardener, prunes and picks and loves his or her plant. So I think brands, are living, breathing entities, definitely, and are so special. So I kind of give my, my hand in the brand as much care as a gardener would. So that's
right. I get it.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a lot of. I mean, it's a full-time job, and I do a lot of the social media stuff for Blacks in Technology, and it is. I mean, if I could hire somebody to do it, I definitely would at this point.
I'm thinking about starting a consulting firm, so the social media consulting. So let me know. No.
All right. No. I mean, because it's one of those things where it has to be done, but you wish you weren't the person that has it. At least I do, anyhow. I don't know if you feel like that, but I wish I wasn't the person that had to actually do it. Or if I did it, I wish that was the only thing that I had to do, and not other things as well, because it's like it's like another part-time job doing it. So I definitely agree with you on the gardening part of it.
Totally. And I feel like so many people, when you say social media, they think, oh, that's easy. Like, I could do that in my sleep. But people don't kind of understand how much time it takes.
Right.
That's kind of why, like, when I mentioned that I work in social media, people kind of like turn up their noses towards me. Like, I'm just like this millennial that's complaining about this easy job. And I'm just like, it's just difficult,
Right.
So, and then, trying to make sure that everything that you put out fits with the brand and ties into the brand. It's definitely, it's definitely a job. So all the people out there who are throwing shade to people who work in social media, be nicer. It's difficult.
Right. I can't count how many times I've tweeted things and it's been beyond 140 characters, and you look for ways within that tweet. So how can I condense this? Okay, I can spell about ABT instead of ABOUT, and I can use the ampersand sign or the and sign instead of saying the word and it's almost like a puzzle at times. Like you try to fit the pieces right just so it can fit in that whole 100. And then it's about, not only that, it's about the message that you put out and how you format it and what you're saying and how you say it. So it's difficult. I struggle every day to do it. It's not like I'm come up with this stuff and I'm like some type of genius. It's just like, I need to do this, but I don't know how. I wish I was more of a literary genius or something like that. It might be a little bit easier for me.
No. Well, have you been using the platforms that kind of schedule out your tweets and posts for you?
Oh yeah.
Like a tweet or like a Pixely or
I actually use TweetDeck.
Oh, TweetDeck.
Yeah, I use TweetDeck for Twitter. I mean, it's still hard. I do so. It's not just I do so much at times that I kind of overwhelm myself, and then having to do the social media part on top of that is just like So, okay. So let me. How has your degrees helped you in this apprenticeship and marketing position?
I think about that. No, they totally have. I think that my degrees in women and gender studies and Africana studies definitely make me more sensitive to the strides that we've made, in race, gender, and sexuality.
Right.
And I think that it's our duty to make sure that as technology advances, that we remain diligent and kind of thinking about creative ways to include and be responsible and responsive to the complex identities that, make up our experience. So I think that without those degrees, I wouldn't be as aware as I am right now, and I don't think I would be as effective. It's just not possible all the time to send out all of your content to the PR agency to make sure that it's okay and make sure that it's not offensive and things like that. So it's so important that we have that knowledge, So it comes in handy every day. Yeah.
Gotcha. Excellent. So, and Reebok, from just from the bio that you sent me and I was reading, it seemed to utilize all, or at least a majority of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So what type of guidelines do they set or do they put in place to ensure the correct usage of these platforms, and how does that continue to evolve?
Well, I work mostly with Reebok's primary corporate social responsibility initiative, which is called BOSS, which stands for Build Our Kids' Success. It's an amazing program that they fund almost completely. So, but I also work with Reebok's direct social team as well. So, So with Reebok's official site, the apprentices go through this couple month long process before they can even send out a tweet without it being approved by a higher up. Just because everything that goes out is so important. They also use this really cool program called Sprinkler, where you can kind of like assign different people tweets and schedule those tweets and get them out. So that's how they do that. Now, me on the other hand, since my audience is a little smaller than Reebok, it's pretty much up to me, and the guidelines that are put out are set by, the head of my department and my direct supervisor. So when it comes to something like a Periscope, which I do manage, being that the BOSS program is mainly geared towards children, we don't use Periscope as much just because people can say whatever they want all over the world to these poor kids who are just trying to stay active and get active. So, there are guidelines that we put in place for things like that. Periscope's a really great live streaming platform, but you can't filter what comes in and out. Just in general, I just have to make sure to always do my research and try to make sure that this kind of offshoot of Reebok stays directly tied to the brand, which is a whole job in itself because Reebok's brand is constantly evolving and constantly growing and constantly reshaping. So I think those are definitely the guidelines. And when it all boils down, it kind of up to me to because if I send out a tweet that's off, then it's my rear.
Right.
So.
We've definitely seen instances of our situations where that's happened with, not with Reebok, but with other companies or other celebrities. People kind of go off the handle sometimes. Who's done it recently? Kanye? Yeah.
Kanye West.
Good for that.
Oh, poor Kanye. See, Kanye can hire me. Do you know Kanye personally? Can we give him a call?
I know people that know Kanye.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that kind of goes back to your earlier question about my degrees. Because if Kanye West had degrees in women and gender studies and Africana studies, he was a hardcore feminist and it was all about, helping people and understanding people's lived experiences, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have made those mistakes. So, this is being a world citizen, just having that knowledge is so important. Totally.
Right. But you don't know the answers, Sway.
Right? That's what you would say.
You don't know the answer, Sway. We have a Slack channel for Blacks in Technology, and we're like, well, where are we at right now? I think we're like close to 320 people on our Slack channel, which is awesome. 318. But somebody posted that video in the Slack channel yesterday, and it's like it's still and here's how this is how fate works. So somebody posted that, and then I typed the reply. And I was like, that video is just as funny as Allen Iverson's practice video. and here I'm talking to somebody who works at the company that Allen Iverson. He endorsed what? Adidas or Reebok? It was Reebok, right?
Reebok, yeah.
Yeah,
he actually just re-released his shoe. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can buy them online.
I like the first ones, the very first ones.
Yeah. They're pretty similar to the new ones. Yeah.
Okay. Practice.
Not a game.
not the game. Not the game that I play and I love and I die for. That's funny. That's funny. So let me ask you this. So you're in marketing and it involves tech. So how has tech changed the marketing space? Or how do you view tech as being like this integral part of marketing now?
Right. Well, marketing is the conversation between, like a company and the consumer, right? So I think if companies don't talk to the consumer in the way that consumers are talking to each other, then we wouldn't, then the marketing strategy just wouldn't work. Right. In that way, I think marketing is always on the cutting edge of any and all tech advances and digital trends, just because that's what impacts and influences the population. With that being said, I think marketing kind of grows right along with tech. I think it's a couple steps behind, definitely. But, every day, like startup companies that are just changing the way that we even think about marketing. The one that comes to mind is Thunderclap, which is a really cool platform that allows the company to kind of crowdsource tweets with the hopes that you can have your hashtag will start trending. So it's easy, like somebody could just sign up, give the platform access to their Twitter, and then at the same time, like let's say at 10 o'clock, the tweet will just go out automatically on their Twitter. So if you get 1 million people to do that, your brand can reach a whole new audience.
Oh wow!
Just from that one platform. So every day there's so many cool new little things that can do that. Oh, another company that I actually work with, they're super cool. It's called QuickFrame. It's a similar kind of crowdsourcing video platform. It's super easy. You kind of embed the code into your website, and people can just submit videos based on whatever competition that you have, and then the population can vote on what video that they like the most. It's
nice.
Super great, and it's that, for example, we just did a campaign where we used QuickFrame, and it was great to just see how people integrated the brand and integrated Box specifically into these awesome videos, these awesome home videos, just people in their living room just doing whatever. So every day marketing is holding hands with tech and skipping down happy lane. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this, and this is something I was actually like I actually just came from working out, and I was thinking about this because I knew, like, the questions that I was going to ask you. But how does a company prevent? Let me try to word this right. So you've got a company, right? And you have this company, and they want to be, or a corporation, and they want to be socially responsible. How do you keep people from assuming that they are only doing that to win more business or to sell more products, right? So, say for instance, you get Reebok and they get involved in supplying or helping to supply water to the people in Flint, Michigan, for instance, right? How do they become a part of something and become more socially responsible without having that stigma of, are they really doing this to help, or are they really just doing this to make more money? Does that make sense?
That's such a delicate line.
Right.
It's interesting. But what I've also found, and what I also think, is that in my generation specifically, that caring and kindness is a new form of capital. So brands are kind of scrambling to hop on this bandwagon of my Generation B. Caring. So, like, that's why you see companies like Tom, that are so successful, because all of a sudden, like, people care so much.
Right.
And I think, what makes companies like Tom's and even Reebok.
This call is being recorded.
So what makes them super successful is that they always have the human element to the story. Like, there's never just the CEO someone just like dropping off a whole bunch of shoes somewhere, or and I think that's why the box program at Reebok is so successful and so important, because it's run by moms all over the country and all over the world who are dedicated to kind of like reversing this epidemic of physical inactivity in their children, because recess is being cut consistently. So I think the human element is what makes a big, bad, scary corporation a caring, loving, comforting corporation, and that's why CSR is so, so, so important. And I think in the past, companies kind of saw CSR as like something to do or a way to just kind of cut taxes, but now they're investing more time and energy into it, because general sentiments are definitely shifting to being more empathetic, especially in the digital space. Like when you look at something like the Ice Bucket Challenge or things like that, like caring is cool now. So, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And sorry to throw that out there like that, but I was just it's funny because like I not that I work at a huge corporation, but there's things that we do for certain
This free conference. Either.
Okay, we're back. Yeah, we had a glitch in the matrix there. We lost our feed for a second. But as I was saying, we work with some local companies. One of them is an orphanage called Pro Kids. But I was just always wondering, it's different. It's a little bit different when you're doing it on a local scale. We're a local company, so we do it with the local, another local organization, nonprofit organization. But, big corporations like Reebok always, everybody is always thinking about that they're out for greed and money, especially here in in America. That's the biggest thing is these corporations like Walmart. They only want money, and so I was just wondering like how they. I mean, you answered the question, but that's where that came from. Me just wondering in my mind kind of how they walk that line between being viewed as this big bad corporation and being viewed as the socially responsible corporation that is doing things really just for the good of people, and it's not to be not for additional sales or not to get people to buy their product and things like that. So interesting.
Right. Yeah. No, that was a great question.
So tell us some of the tell us a little bit about some of the tools that you use day to day in your job for social media and things like that.
Well, I use Sprinkler, which is cool.
And Sprinkler does what?
Sprinkler is like a super fancy Hootsuite. It's also the only platform that allows you to edit a tweet that you've already tweeted, which is like magic. That's amazing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I need that in my life.
Yeah, so Sprinkler I use a lot. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, of course. Periscope, just to follow some of our partners and maybe putting things out. Yeah, I feel like on a daily basis, that's what I use the most. We've actually been working with a company called Pixly, which is cool because they create these consumer source kind of carousels that you can embed in your website, and then they also are really good at filtering through everyone who's used your hashtag and kind of like creating these boards where you can, pull content from and see who's talking about you the most. And they just kind of did something really cool for the Box Kids website. So I use Pixly's site a lot too. But mostly I mostly stick to the basics. I think that, just getting on Facebook myself makes me feel a lot more, like I feel like it's my baby. Like I just don't want to leave it with a babysitter. Like just kind of just being there and just making sure that everything's okay. Because bitches are beautiful, but they can get you fired. So I just think just going to the actual platforms every day. I also monitor the comments on the Box Kids website that come in. So that's going in the back end. I have to make sure everything's running smoothly with that. And so, yeah, that's a lot of what I do every day. I mean, along with strategy and just always thinking about the brand and ways to make sure that we're staying on brand too. So, yeah.
Nice. So tell us what types of trends are you seeing in the social media space right now? What's hot?
Well, I think the meme is always going to be super hot and super cool, and I'm right now trying to crack the code and figure out how viral works, how like going viral and being viral works. I think there's a formula that someone needs to crack. So that's definitely
if you find out, let me know.
You might have to hire me first. No, but I think definitely what I was talking about, how consumers are caring. I think there's a lot. Just in the same way that there's a lot of negativity online, there's a lot of positivity too, and a lot of people trying to create communities in this digital space in ways that weren't possible before the internet.
Right.
So I think that's definitely a trend. I'm always going to be in love with the gift. I think gifts are definitely, they've been hot for a while, but they're not going to stop being hot. I don't know if you've ever seen Harry Potter, but here comes nerd talk. But in Harry Potter, all of the newspapers kind of had these moving images that were super captivating and awesome. So in the same way that those kind of like moving images popped up in this kind of magical land, that's kind of how gifts work in the digital space too. And I think they're super captivating and very awesome and easy to use and easy to make too. So those are some trends that I definitely see. Definitely. And I'm excited to see what new trends start to emerge.
Nice. So give us 2 do's and 2 don'ts to social media.
Okay. To-dos.
What's that?
To don'ts. I always think about, when I post something for my personal Instagram or like my personal Facebook, I always think, like, why am I posting this? Like, will this add value to someone's life? Or am I seeking approval? Or do I need a hug? Do I need to pet a cat? Like, why am I posting this? I think if we just gave a little more energy to our digital persona and our online identity, that we could do a lot more with social media. So before, you post that picture of your lunch that may look like dog food, maybe we can just think about, is this adding value to my audience's life? Because they may be your friends or family, but they're also your audience. And you're a curator, and you're constantly curating that space. So that's what I would say. That's definitely what I say. A don't would be, please don't add anyone to play Farmville or Candy Crush on Facebook. You will get blocked. Another don't is, I'm not. I just think being nasty on the internet and being a troll on the internet is just totally not worth it. I think a lot of people like internet bullies just because it's comfortable, and internet gangsters just because it's comfortable. And I just think that it's such a disservice to all of the advancements that we've made. Yeah, but do share your life. Do be happy. Do, be your most authentic self.
I think that, I think what you touched on as far as be happy is something that everybody should take heed to, because, and I'll tell you why, I'll be on Facebook and I'll see, for instance, and I understand, some people like to wear their heart on their sleeves and they pour out their emotions on Facebook and things like that. But there's just certain things I don't want to see in my timeline. I don't want to see a picture of somebody laying in a casket on my timeline, even if you are, a friend or family or what's. It's just eerie to me. It's like, why would you post that? And I know people, are kind of reaching out and they really want, but to me, that's overboard.
And I completely agree with you. And I think a lot about that, too. And I just think about how we're normalizing, like, violence and death and all of these terrible things. And also how so many of us are sensitive to these triggers and not able to filter them out of our lives because they're just habitually circulated, Triggers are real. That could be a really triggering photo for you. And that's totally real. It's kind of like we have a fascination with this kind of like violence and gore, but how is that changing the way like we view human life? Is it becoming something normal? So definitely a lot of ethical questions to think about there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've actually found out that as I'm getting older, that I'm a lot more sensitive to stuff, to violence and things like that. Like I used to be really into horror movies, to where they didn't bother me. I've always, but see, I've never been like the super gory slasher type movie person. Anyhow, I liked horror movies that had a more of a plot and more of a storyline to it, as opposed to, hey, I'm gonna put on a mask, I'm gonna grab a machete, and I'm gonna hack my way through this entire movie. That's but I was able to watch those movies. Nowadays, I'm just like, I don't even want to watch those type movies at all, even though, of course they're not real. But I just don't want to see that, and especially, in people's timelines when you see that, anything like that, it's just like, why are you posting this? Like, I don't want to see a picture of a young baby hooked up to a bunch of machines in a hospital, like they're, grasping for their deal. Like, I understand the meaning behind it. I just don't want to see it in my timeline. Like,
the problem is choice. The problem is choice. Like, you should have that choice, and right now you don't. Like, you could block everybody, but what would that do?
Right. Huh.
That
might be an interesting. That might be an interesting idea for like an application or some add-on for Facebook to filter through. Like, you set up your preferences about what types of images you want to see or don't want to see, and pretty interesting.
Think about Cheryl
Right. So, what would you like others to know about what would you like others to know when it comes to a career in the digital marketing space? Like, what type of advice would you give someone wanting to enter the field?
I definitely think that you should know your history, in terms of just like knowing a little background about digital marketing. I think as a millennial, I hate that word, but I'm going to use it. As a millennial, all of us are using this digital technology and kind of think that we're experts. But it's so important to kind of know where it came from, just so you can kind of get an idea of where it's going. And then also knowing where it's going, and really, really staying up and staying diligent about understanding what's going on in the space, like just learning about new companies and new applications. And I guess advice I would give is, first of all, don't sell yourself short. In the same way that, it's kind of bad to think that we know everything about social media because we're millennials. Don't think that those skills are not transferable. Don't think that every single company, is looking for someone like you to help their brand. Because, just take Reebok, for example. They have an entire room filled with computers and monitors just constantly monitoring the space, and it's basically run by young people. So don't sell yourself short, and don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing isn't important and isn't a valid profession. Because every day you can always carve out a new profession for yourself based on your passions and based on what you're interested in. Like, don't ever let anyone tell you that the only job worth doing is being a doctor or a lawyer. No shade to doctors and lawyers, but you can always create a job for yourself and create a space for yourself, in whatever you're passionate about.
Excellent. So what's next for you? What's your next
for me?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I have no idea.
I mean, you just turned 24.
Basically ancient.
You're becoming an old person in the game.
Right.
Yeah, 24. Right.
I am really interested in patterns and algorithms, and I think it would be cool to kind of create like an ethical and socially responsible algorithm or like creative teaching materials for nonprofits to harness the power of social media, just so that they can utilize its power to the fullest potential. I think that would be really cool. Just kind of like crack that code, and really help to use the digital space as a great tool that it could be. Yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to do next. Or who knows? Maybe I'll open that bakery. No, just kidding. So we'll see. I have a lot of interest, so we will see.
Well, you definitely sound like a very ambitious person. I mean, you need to trademark the phrase "grit and hustle." By the way,
grit.
Before I do it. Right. All right. Well, Nia, I definitely want to thank you for joining us on the show. It was definitely a lot of fun, and I wish you the best in the future. And drop us a line. Keep us in tune to what you're up to. And if you want to come join the Slack channel, we have a lot of great people. It's not all tech, we talk a lot about social things and things like that. I think you'll get a kick out of it. So the invite is out there for you.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully I didn't yap your ear off.
No, not at all. I'm usually the one that's yapping people's ear off, so you're fine.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Keep in touch.
Will do.
Excellent. That's it for this episode of the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast. I want to thank our guest, Nia Allen Lee, for joining us tonight. And if you like what you heard and you want to let us know, you have any suggestions or comments, or if there are people that you think should be interviewed on the Blacks in Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast, email your suggestions to us at contactus@blacksintechnology.net. Our next podcast is not going to be in 2 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from now, February 25th. We are going to have Natasha, and I'm going to totally butcher her name, Natasha Malehalo. I think that's how you pronounce it, sort of. She is one of the co-founders and lead hackers at Wiser. We actually had Bjorn Simmons on the show a few podcasts ago, and we're going to talk to Natasha because she has an interesting story. She actually went to school for legal and wound up founding 2 startups, and her latest one is Wiser. So we're going to talk to her about that and how she got into coding and all that. And I think we're going to be doing this live at a Black Founders event here in Cincinnati, Ohio. So definitely stay tuned for that. And again, remember, tech yourself before you wreck yourself. Take care and have a good night.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.